Thank you. It's my pleasure to present some data on behalf of LensGen. My name's Sam Garg. I'm at the University of California, Irvine. So George, I think, set this up really nicely for us, talking about the market opportunity when it comes to premium IOLs and presbyopia. Lots and lots of people with presbyopia. There's a lot of cataract surgery done in the US and worldwide. There's a huge market opportunity here. Premium IOLs are current ones. You know, they address presbyopia and astigmatism. We have some novel lenses such as the IC8. And over the last 10 years, $2 billion or more has been invested with, you know, somewhat limited market success. As surgeons, we don't have a lens that is our go-to lens for all these patients. And an IOL that achieves spectacle-free vision with high-quality optics would certainly be deemed the holy grail. So at this meeting in 2012, an expert panel was asked, you know, where do you see this market being in 2018? And they thought by 2018 there would be 1.4 million presbyopia-correcting IOLs sold, and the revenue from that would be about 1.15 billion. And currently, it's only about 663,000 PCIOLs with annual revenue about 425 million. So way underneath what people had expected the market to be at this point. And so why is the market underperforming? Well, LensGen underwent a market research project by Market Scope, and they interviewed 20 premium cataract surgeons, people who've been in practice for a long time, so a lot of experience, who do quite a few cases a year, and with a high percentage of premium lenses. And only 20% of those surgeons were very satisfied with the current PCIOLs that they have available to them. So current issues that they found were that the range of vision was limited. Quality of vision, we all know that we have halo, glare, and dysphotopsias. Stability, sometimes there can be some issues with some refractive targeting and inconsistent outcomes. I think some of that has to do with patient selection. Follow-up needed. You know, there's quite a bit of chair time when you talk to patients about these lenses and trying to get them to understand the pros and the drawbacks to these lenses. And as a surgeon myself, that's where I spend a lot of my time is explaining to patients what they can expect with these lenses. And then, you know, certainly with pre-existing pathologies, we do have to be careful putting these lenses in patients with epiretinal membranes, macular degeneration, you know, glaucoma, things like that. So the surgeon consensus in this study was, or in this research, was that, you know, the ideal premium IOL has yet to be designed, and there's an overwhelming willingness to use a better lens. So if we had a better lens available to us, we would gravitate towards that. So I'm going to talk about the Juvene lens, and we feel like this is a complete IOL for patients that meets the needs of both patients and doctors. So when you look at the full range of vision, the company has undergone a trial outside the US, and they call it the GRAIL trial, looking at patients. And this data shows 1 to 6 month data on bilateral patients with the Juvene lens. And you can see, compared to an EDOF lens that's commercially available, that the vision at distance, intermediate, and near surpasses it at all points at 6 months. The lens changes within the eye. It's a modular lens that fills the capsular bag, and so it has this dynamic range. And we find patients that really are truly spectacle dependent for their entire day. And so these patients, you know, I was down in Mexico recently, and you have a chance to talk to them, and that you ask them to hold stuff, and they can move it around very freely without there being any lag in their ability to see up close. Quality of vision. These patients were all given a directed questionnaire and walked through it and asked them about all the specific side effects that we see with our current technologies. And none of them had any complaints, which was, to me, remarkable. Looking at IOL compromises that we have with our current lenses, remarkably, these patients don't get the PCO. So if you look at some of the patients that were done 4.5 years ago in the initial pilot studies, they looked at those patients again, and they've looked at them repeatedly, and these patients don't get PCO. There's very little shift of the lens within the capsular bag. They have stable refractions, and 90% of the patients were within half a diopter of their target, and again, no PCO at 4.5 years. We also looked at rotational stability. There's the promise to have a toric version of this lens. And looking at rotational stability, the rotational stability is fantastic, 1.7 degrees in a 3 months visit, or 3 months compared to implantation in 10 patients. And then when you look at the actual procedure, it's a very, very intuitive surgery. You would think that there may be some hiccups in how you put it in, or if it's really complex, and it's really not. And I'm going to show a video here. This is Dr. Rosa Braga-Mili's. This is her first Juvene implantation. So this is the base lens going into the capsular bag. It's a silicone lens, and this slides into the capsular bag and fills that capsular bag. And then following this is going to be, which is the fluid lens. And the fluid lens tabs into the base lens to secure it into place. And so this is real time, the lens going into the capsular bag. And you can see she's putting it in her first case, so being nice and gentle with it. And then now she's going to tab this lens into place. And with tabbing this lens into place, you sort of lock it into place. By locking it into place, you provide stability of that lens. Not only stability for the ELP, but also rotational stability. So you're able to, the lens has little notches in it, similar to our current toric lenses, and that allows you to know where the toricity lies. If you look at the platform, we have the Juvene lens, which is the fluid-filled lens, and the Juvene toric. But because it's a modular platform, there's options for a monofocal lens, a monofocal toric lens if you want, drug delivery, certainly biomimetic sensors, all possible with this lens. So surgeons' view of Juvene, back to that same study, 90% of the participants, when they were told about this lens, had very positive notions towards it. 70% of the respondents said they would use the Juvene right away. And most of them said, hey, if we had this available to us, it would sell at a premium to our current presbyopia-correcting lenses. So the interviewer conclusion, surgeons have not found their exclusive premium IOL of choice. They learned a lot how to manage expectations. I think George and everyone can we know how to talk to them about it, but it does take a lot of time. IOL loyalty is driven by performance. So most surgeons would change to a new lens if we had a better one available to us. Surgeons want a better IOL design, full range of vision, no dysphotopsia. Juvene was well received by the participants, and there was a strong affirmation that this would have better effective lens position and elimination of toricity, or toric rotation. LensGen milestones, they plan to close the 60 million round Series B in Q1 of next year. Plan to initiate an FDA study in Q2. They initiated the GRAIL trial in early 2019. We've had great outcomes to date. I've showed that. The company was founded in 2012 by Ram Rao and Roger Steinert, and expect commercialization in 2023. Thank you very much.
Sam, thank you so much. Perfect. Very exciting.